Hi there. I want to give you a heads up, a quick overview of what we're doing this week. I've turned my camera around and you see a little dog in the background. Now you see a dog in the foreground. That's Lulu. And hopefully the cats won't come walking in front of the computer camera. And since Cassidy mentioned her reading with her family in front of the fire, and since I'm sitting in my basement, it gets cold and I have a fire, I thought, what the heck? I'll just do this lecture, a little fireside chat. So anyhow, it's week 2. I haven't run through everybody, but I will to make sure you've done part 1, 2, and 3. I've responded so far to everything that's been done and given feedback and some suggestions, and hopefully you find those things helpful. That's the intent anyway. So you have a draft. You have a draft of my attempt, which is a good thing. And essay, in its literal translation, means an attempt from the French. Yes. And so that's what we're doing. We're attempting right now. So quick kind of timeline. Your draft is due by midnight Monday. You should just, I don't have that page open on my screen, but you just click the submit button. You'll copy and paste. Do make sure that you have spaces between your paragraphs. Sometimes when we move things from a word processing program to the Canvas and other forms, all the spacing just kind of gets lost. So make sure, if nothing else, that you have spacing for your paragraphs. So once I have Tuesday morning, most likely, quite early, 7 or 8 or something like that, I will make sure that everybody is assigned 2 essays to respond to, and I'll go over what's expected from those responses. And so you'll do your best with those. You want those responses done by midnight Wednesday, and then you will use that feedback to get an essay into me by midnight Saturday is the deadline. I'm going to have to check another calendar. It may say midnight Friday somewhere, but we'll go for midnight Saturday just to give you that extra time. So these are the dates here as listed on the screen right there. So Monday draft due, Tuesday morning peer groups assigned, have those responses done by Wednesday midnight, and you will then use that feedback and get it to me by midnight Saturday, and I'll tell you how to do that in a later post. So what do you do when you respond? Well, the first thing you do is you think about the assignment and think about whether or not the student has met the assignment. So you want to read the assigned essay as thoughtfully and carefully as you can. In as much detail, you're just going to respond to 4 questions. Sometimes the Canvas system makes certain assumptions that I don't abide by. And so what we're doing doesn't necessarily work into their notion of using rubrics, and I'm going to do my best to divorce it from that. But you'll just hit the response button and address 4 questions. So the first thing is, what do you notice? And you can notice a lot of things, and whatever you notice is up to you. This is nothing special we're looking for, but if you notice that they use a lot of good examples, then that's the kind of thing you would write about. If you notice that their examples are maybe not in the best order for some reason, you tell them about that and why you might think it would be better otherwise. So just what are you seeing that stands out? I mean, you're going to read it, you're going to pay attention to it, but what really stands out to you in that paper? I would say jumps off the screen or the page, whatever it is you think of that. So what do you notice? The next thing is, what do you value? Another way to ask this question is, what do you think? Well, actually, it can be read a number of different ways. What do you value could be the examples that are in there. You might value the honesty you sense in the writer. You might value the organization that they've used, because it makes everything accessible to you. So there's all kinds of things you can value. From the examples, you might value that It was easy to read. You might value that it was punctuated well. You might value that the paragraphs had nice delineated chunks of material. What you value is what you value, and you want to let your reader know that. What do you question? And this means what do you push back against? Yes, sweetie. You can see the dog is pushing the table and hearing. What do you question? Somebody may write about something and they may come to a conclusion, and you're thinking, well, I wonder how you came to that conclusion. And you might think, well, this is how I would see it differently here. And so just that kind of thing. So you're going to kind of push back against at least one aspect of it, a conclusion, an assertion, an observation that you've seen play out differently. Again, I don't know what it's going to be because it's going to be different for every reader and every essay and every dog who gets their head in front of the camera. There will also be, so what do you question? So you want to be a resisting reader right there, not just take everything at face value. And then finally, what questions do you have? There should be some kind of questions. It could be just as simple as, well, what did you mean when you said this thing? Or what did you mean for this example to do? Or what did you intend by including this sequence of events, whatever it is? So whatever questions you have, answer them, because they're all legitimate questions. Well, I got a dog who wants up in my lap. Let me see, she's a little, yes, aren't you cute? Anyhow, so almost as bad as the cats. Fortunately, the cat is sleeping on my desk. Oh, she's up on the chair, and she's getting her love now. So anyhow, thank you, Lulu. She's really not this lonely or abused or anything. Yeah. Give me a break, would you? I'm going to be more entertaining, and you're making my work harder. Okay. So the 4 questions. What do you notice? What do you value? What do you question? What do you push back against? What questions do you have? Doesn't squeak anymore. So address those as thoroughly and thoughtfully. Ideally, you will include specific examples from the text you're responding to, and you will explain why you noticed this, why you valued it, why you questioned it, and what questions you have. So provide that particular information. This is done not just to help the person you are helping, but it helps you in order to just develop the self-evaluation skills for yourself as well. The more you think about these things and with others, the more you can start thinking about them for yourself and helping yourself to do your own revising. So when you get your feedback, take the advice and apply it to your essay in the ways that seem to make the most sense. You do not do necessarily what everybody suggests, but you consider that suggestion and you accept it or reject it. And if you have questions about it, you're not quite sure what they meant, well, get back to them and ask them, well, what did you mean when you wrote blah, blah, blah? So that's what you want to do. So once each of those 2 essays has its responses, I'll weigh in on a couple of big picture kind of points. I'm not going to go through anything with a fine-tooth comb, but I will give you some feedback about some big picture things. So I think that's really all I need to go over. As always, if you have any questions, that glare out of there, get in touch through the messaging system, and I'll get back to you with an answer as soon as I can come up with something that makes sense for you. So I will see you all later, and Lulu here. Say hi, Lulu. Say hi, Lulu. Says goodbye too. Yeah. Don't give me a kiss. Stop it. Stop it. Okay, goodbye.